let's change tack by looking at the next topic for discussion today is the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, which used to be Nigeria's dominant political force, is now mired in a fractious leadership crisis. At the center of this turbulence is INEC, traditionally a neutral arbiter of elections, which has found itself unwittingly thrust into a political drama involving rival PDP factions, court orders, and questions about the integrity of the party processes. VK, does INEC risk being seen as a savior rather than a regulator?
I think that this INEC
Um, Hello, BK. I think we're having a connectivity issue with BK. Let's see how fast this network is going to be restored. BK, we lost you. We lost your
Ibrahim,
at the beginning of your analysis on INEC. You said you thought that INEC was what?
yes.
This INEC,
can you hear me, Ibrahim?
Yeah, very well now. Very well now.
Yes, okay. The point that I'm making is this INEC chairman wants to be different. I think he's eager and determined to see the PDP compete in the general election of 2027. Previous INEC chairmen would never have been bothered about what is going on. They will wait for the courts to decide, and they will take action based on the decision of the court. When the appeal court takes a decision, they will abide by it. If that decision is overruled by the Supreme Court, they will also take action. But what this INEC chairman on his part is just trying to straighten the polity. He believes that this issue can be resolved even without a resort to the courts. I mean, let's face it, if the combatants will agree to come together, do some power sharing, this whole conflict can come to an end even in one day. I still believe that the PDP shouldn't have had that conference in Ibadan. And remember, Abubakar Bukola Saraki, the former Senate president who was given the mandate of resolving the crisis within the party, suggested that what the party needed was a kind of caretaker committee. He didn't think that it made sense to go ahead with that convention. But the governor for your state and the governor of Bauchi State, they felt that, look, even after the federal high court had stopped the convention, they felt they could procure an order from a state high court. And what did they do? Rather than try to make peace, they took very hard decisions to expel some party members. What would the PDP have lost if they allowed someone like Sule Lamido to be part of the contest? Nothing. What would they have lost if they simply obeyed the order of the Federal High Court? If they simply listened to Bukola Saraki, who was of the view that the timing was not good enough because they had not succeeded in reconciling some of those people aggrieved with the party. The question then is, what would the judgment that was procured, what would they achieve with it in the final analysis? The Ibadan judge has already said that he lacks jurisdiction to order INEC to do anything. So it means that court order that they procured amounts to a waste of time. It means that they are not going to achieve anything with it. So what is the point? Ultimately, the courts may set aside the exercise in a battle. I can understand why this INEC chairman thinks that it's best to find a way to solve this problem. Time is of essence. By June, political parties, based on the Electoral Act 2022, political parties are expected to have elected their candidates for the 2027 elections. You can go to court, but you do not know when the court will decide on your matter. What if the court decides on your matter when it is too late? Look at the matter of Fubara that went to court. They went to court to try and decide whether the president was right to have declared a state of emergency. You and I know when the judgment of the court eventually came. So if it should happen in this case, if judgment is not handed down on this matter, because we also know that it will get to the Supreme Court, PDPs risk not being able to produce candidates for the oncoming election. And the INEC chairman doesn't want people to blame INEC unduly. That's the reason he stepped in. So what he's doing is trying to position the PDP to be able to field candidates for those elections. And what he has done is towing the path of peace, and is commendable. I only hope that the PDP leadership and the combatants will agree to come together and make the party be in a strong position to be able to contest those elections, rather than risking not being able to field candidates. Because as I said, we are in December. Primaries are looming. We may think that is such a long time, but the middle of next year is not a long time. I'm talking about 6 months. What if those cases are not decided within 6 months? So PDP will be in trouble. Will be in a big trouble. So that's why the INEC chairman is trying to save the party from itself. He's trying to help them to come together and achieve peace. This was a very noble effort on the part of the INEC chairman, and I support him absolutely. Whether Wike and his camp and Makede and his camp will be able to come together is something that none of us can predict. But it makes sense for them to come together, because you have to do your best to put the party in position to contest next election. The convention that expect Wike, for example, I can tell you the way it's going, the courts may render it a nullity, and then they will start afresh.
But BKO, yeah, BKO, there is a perception that only by stepping into this PDP crisis, INEC is setting a precedent for future electoral bodies to manage party politics rather than elections. What do you consider the long-term implications if this becomes normalized?
Well, we must see what the INEC chairman was trying to do. He's just trying to make peace. He's just trying to make peace. And he's just trying to draw the attention to the possibilities, the negative possibilities. And I've talked about the negative possibilities earlier. They may not be able to take part in elections if they can't present candidates before the deadline. And the deadline looms as we speak. It is not such a long time. Whoever thinks it's a long time does not know what he's saying. It's not such a long time anymore. At least if the election will be governed by the Electoral Act 2022. Another thing you must consider, Ibrahim, is it is even possible that the elections will happen in November. You know, there's already a school of thought that believes that we need to do our elections earlier, so that litigations can be concluded before the swearing in. So if elections happen this year, and I will not rule out the possibility, it's maybe the National Assembly will be warm to the idea. I won't rule out that possibility. If elections were to take place this year, you know that it makes life even more difficult for the PDP, because they are running out of time now to resolve their dispute and be able to field candidates. So who knows? The elections may actually happen in November, so that litigation can be concluded before a president is sworn in, before a governor is sworn in. And then people will not say, oh, this is an illegitimate president or this is an illegitimate governor, because the issue of whether he was duly elected or is qualified to be governor or president had not been decided by the courts before he was sworn in. So I don't know how strong the National Assembly will approach this. I don't know how fiercely they will approach that issue. If they approach it with urgency, then we may be thinking about elections taking place before the end of this year. And you and I know that they expect that they will have at least 6 months, they will have candidates will have emerged and all that. So it's risky what is going on. It's risky for the PDP. But the INEC chairman wants this issue decided so that they do not blame the party and they do not blame the electoral umpire for any for the disqualification of the party if it happens.
That's right. That's right. Chukwu Diese says INEC trying to save PDP is like a referee trying to coach a team that forgot how to play football. And Fatima Abdullahi says INEC should face elections, not party quarrels. PDP's problem is PDP, not INEC. Yemi Ogunleye says if opposition collapses, democracy suffers. People mocking PDP today may cry tomorrow. Aisha Bida says, how did PDP go from ruling Nigeria to fighting over signatures and court orders? This is painful to watch. Shegun Aluko says, INEC is walking on a dangerous line. Once you interfere too much, tomorrow another party will accuse you of bias. Uche Onwuka says, every PDP crisis always ends in courts. Judges should just open a PDP department already. Okay. This person is saying, Promise, John says, Babajide, big congratulations to you. Luminous, okay, good evening, Mr. Ibrahim. And Pelumi Babalola, how can I reach out to Babajide Ototoju? I have some information to share with him. Okay, he will respond to that. Lefty says, I don't think INEC should dabble in intra-party problems. They risk being tainted as a meddlesome interloper with bias by any side that feels shortchanged at the end of it all. And last that I'll take here is Nelson Adufe saying that is it the duty of the INEC chairman to help party make decisions concerning their party? His acts may lead to being blackmailed of playing pranks in PDP internal wrangling. Okay, so BKO, I don't know, has you answered as you answer Pelumi's question on how to reach you, he or she says he has information for you, so the channel to reach out to you. And as you answer that, looking back, political parties in Nigeria have weathered crises before.
So send my number to him. Send my number to him.
I do not have, I don't know how to reach them directly anyway, because it's a YouTube comment. So I think it probably have to reach out to me on
let him send his own number.
Instagram.
So when he sends his number, you can then send to him.
Okay, so I will type my, as you're listening to me, Balumi, I will type my Instagram handle there, so you can reach out to me via DM. The same name, you can reach out via LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. So you send a DM, then I will send BKO's number to you so that you can reach out to him. All right, so BKO, final question for you is, looking back, political parties in Nigeria have weathered crises before, from SDP splits to ANPP mergers. How do you think this crisis compared to those historical moments? That's the PDP crisis. And what do you think PDP can learn from the past?
I don't know how willing that political party is to learn. I don't know how willing. Remember, this is not the first time they're having this kind of problem. Oh, who is the legitimate leader of our party? They had this problem before. And invariably, it was decided in favor of Makarfi, former governor of Kaduna State. You know, he had to lead the party, you know. So PDP have a history of destroying itself from within. So they've got to realize that the party will not make progress when everyone is pulling in different directions. They must learn to sing from the same hymn book. That's how the party can grow. It's unfortunate that the division in the party has made many people to leave the party because they are not sure they'll be able to realize their political ambitions within that political party. So they are looking elsewhere. Even founding fathers of the party are living in droves. If they had come together to resolve their issues, this would not have happened. Yes, some people will still have defected, you know, but it wouldn't be as bad as this. The reason is this bad is because many politicians think that if this matter was not addressed, they won't have a platform on which to contest. So that is the thing. And as I've said earlier, we are in December. Time is running out for them to have this matter resolved. They may think that, oh, the courts will rule on this matter quickly. But you cannot bet on that. You can go to court, but you cannot determine when your matter will be resolved, when your case will be decided. That is left to the courts. There have been examples, so many examples that I can give. Former governor of Plateau State went to court over the emergency rule imposed on his state. The matter was not decided until he came back from emergency rule. It also happened to Fubara. So, hoping that the courts will resolve their matter quickly is foolhardy, because you cannot dictate to them when to give these judgments. And if the judgment comes after you should have produced candidates for the oncoming elections, then too bad for the party. Too bad. They must learn to resolve their differences without necessarily going to court. And as we have seen, going to court does not guarantee that you will make progress even on that matter.
That's right. Well, let me take two more comments and we'll call it a wrap. Rashid Sadiq says, INEC is not saving PDP. INEC is protecting the process. Big difference. Kemi Adebola says, the real issue is leadership failure. You can't outsource unity to INEC. And Ismail Danjuma says, imagine APC in crisis. Would INEC do this much? That's why people are suspicious. Well, but this is supposed to be INEC helping the opposition to resolve parties. I mean, resolve differences. If it were the APC, I think people would rather think otherwise, that they are being biased because the INEC boss was appointed by the incumbent party's president, I would say.
Yeah.
All right, then, BKO, that's about it for the program. That's our show for today's edition of Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you, Baba Jide Kolade Tutoji, for those insightful analyses, as always.
Thank you, Ibrahim. I say a big thank you to our esteemed viewers. Thank you for supporting us through the years. We promise to continue to give our best.
All right, and thanks to you, to our audience, for keeping our company on every edition. You can see the program again anytime by subscribing to our YouTube channel, TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at TVC News NG. I'm also at Ibrahim_Shita. And for the person who wants to reach out to BKO via my DM, send a DM to me at Ibrahim_Shita. Ibrahim spelled with IBRAHEEM, IBRAHEEM_Shita. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.